What is up, everybody? It is me, Sergeant Goofball. I'm gonna change my name to Silver Deku in a little bit, so watch out for that. Also, today's video is going to be what if Deku was the Avatar? Now, I know what you're thinking. How would this be possible? Would I just give him the four quirks of all four elements? No, I will not. I will not be giving him the quirks of all four elements. Here's what I'm gonna do. So he's actually gonna be like the Avatar, Avatar. So, by the way, guys, in this world, Izuku will be. How do I say this? Well, let's just say in this world, every hero, every person with the quirk is all female. You know what I'm saying? So every boy in 1A is gonna be a female. Every villain's gonna be a female. And excuse me if I say he or she. Excuse me if I say he sometimes. You know what I mean by that? I mean she, because this will be a all female what if, and all she is, an all female what if. So Izuku will be the only boy with a quirk, or should I say, bending. So yeah. So how I see this happening? Well, how I already know this is gonna happen is when Rava was split, Latu didn't really necessarily destroy her. Let's just say it looked like he destroyed her, but in reality he separated her spirits, making her go between dimensions. I don't know if that made any sense to you guys, but anyway, yeah. When Rava was split, she wasn't necessarily, like, the other half wasn't necessarily destroyed. It looked like it was destroyed, and instead of like actually going into nothingness, it went between dimensions. Now instantly, so Rava ended up going between dimensions so she could recover, but she accidentally ended up going into a different universe entirely. In this universe, though, she felt a whole lot of. It was like unbalanced, like a lot. She saw people with bending, but they wasn't necessarily the same thing. People, but things besides bending. She thought this world was out of balance. So that's when she realized she has to make somebody the avatar in this world. So she tried doing a few babies, but it didn't work. She got rejected because they had quirks. She kept on trying until she came across Izuku. Now, she instantly merged with Izuku. And Izuku was now the Avatar. So, Izuku, let's just say on the other hand, Izuku had a twin sister. She was the favorite of the house because she had a quirk. Izuku was basically, even though his family had a lot of money, he was dirt poor. They didn't really care for him. The reason they was letting him live in the house was not to upset their bad name. Izuku was a family who sold a lot of hero support gear because Hisashi quirk would be a knowledge. Not Hisashi because Hisashi doesn't have a quirk, but Ingo's quirk would not be levitating. This one, it would be like enhanced intelligence. So yeah, let's say males do have quirks, it's just they can't awaken them. It's like it's going like dormant permanently. People have tried to like unlock him, but every time they try, the man either goes stupid or they die. So that's not possible. Anyway, so Izuku is thinking, why do I get treated so poorly? Does it become a boy? But his sister on the other hand, Miko, yeah, that's what I named her, Miko. Miko, on the other hand, Miko Midoriya, was treated with such love and respect because she had a pretty strong telekinesis quirk. Of course, what if I'm going to give Hisashi the telekinesis quirk, and it was pretty strong. So, like I said before, boys can't awaken the quirk, but they do carry the genes of the quirk, but they just can't awaken it. So, Hisashi did have the gene of a levitation quirk in his system, so that's what Miko's quirk will be, a pretty strong levitation quirk. a pretty strong telekinesis quirk. I'd give it the level of, I don't know. Just let's just say it's a strong telekinesis quirk. It's not all my level quirk. I give it about like epic quirk, not a legendary quirk, but epic quirk. It was a pretty strong telekinesis quirk. She trained it; it could work up its way to becoming a legendary quirk. But anyway, off the topic of Miko. So Deku, like I said before, Deku really never went to the hospital to see what his quirk would be because he knew he wasn't going to have one. But then one day, at the age of 5, he heard a voice in his head. Because Deku was sitting on the playground crying because this mean girl Bakako and his sister bullied him. He was sitting there crying, thinking that his own flesh and blood would bully him. So then one day he heard a voice. What's the matter? Izuku said, what? Who said that? As then Izuku would teleport into his mindscape. Izuku would look around being freaked out, saying, what? Where am I? Where am I? The man would say, calm down. Hi, my name is Aang, and it seems this world is a bit different from mine, but don't worry. I'm here to teach you, since there isn't really anybody else to. I guess we're gonna have to teach you. As then he'd show him all of the other avatars. Izuku would walk up to Aang asking, who are you people in? What am I? What do you mean, teach me? Aang would say, you have something way special than a quirk inside of you. You have what is known as the Light Spirit Rava, also known as the Avatar state. You are the Avatar. Izuku would say, the Avatar? What's that? Aang would say, well, let's see. We come from another dimension. The previous Avatar, well, before you, known as Korra, split us all from the Avatar. Basically, split us from her, and we accidentally ended up in your dimension. We could have returned back to ours, but Rava sensed a lot of unbalanced nature in this world, so she decided to stay and help. She already decided there's already another Rava in the other one, so there was no purpose of her going back. Izuku say, oh, not really understanding anything. Deku would say, so what is an avatar exactly? Aang would smack his forehead saying, to put it simple, kid, listen, you are the thing that's going to hold balance to this world. You control all 4 elements. Izuku says, like All Might, and does anyone have a quirk? Aang would say, no, not a quirk, just a different power. And yes, yes, I've watched Your Memories, I know exactly who this All Might guy is. It seems, well, you can be the next #1 hero, if I teach you, that is. Izuku then would learn from Aang. Over the next 2 years, earthbending came naturally to Deku, because this would be the cycle, because Korra was a waterbender, and now it's time for the earthbender. Earthbending came naturally to Deku. He learned it as easy as it was, any other bending. Well, not easy as it was any other bending, but he learned it as easy as, math, basically. It was, really easy to him. Although, learning how to metal bend was kind of hard for him. Izuku didn't learn how to do fire over the next 2 years. Of course, he did all this in secret. Izuku would shut himself off from his family, training more and more. He would learn how to control Earth. He didn't halfway mastered Earth. He was basically a bending prodigy. Aang had taught him how to master Earth at a very young age. Kyoshi had helped him with that, with Earth. Basically, over the course of the next 2 years, Deku is now 7. He has mastered Earth and is on his way to He is half a mastered fire. Water he's not that good with, nor air. He can do a bit of air and do a bit of water, but he's not really good at using those. Fire and earth was his main two. Which is why one day he accidentally ended up lava bending. Which kind of surprised Aang, saying, "Oh, so you're a lava bender. Well, you should be able to metal bend too, but we'll teach you that later." Anyway, Aang didn't really know how to lava bend because he was really never taught. So, Izuku would then go on to say, "This is so cool. And this is really all my power?" Aang would say, "Yes, and those who come after you." Izuku would shake his head, yes. As then, Izuku would keep on learning how to train his elements. Over the next 2 years, he was now 9. He had mastered fire bending and on his way to mastering water bending. Izuku would then go on to say, Izuku then would go on to say, "Alright, Aang, he was on his way to mastering airbending is what I meant to say. Waterbending, he was kind of getting harder and it kind of really frustrated him. Like a lot. It frustrated him like a lot. Izuku would say, "Aang, why can I get waterbending down so easily?" Aang would then go on to say, "Well, it seems that usually when you can't get an element down right, it basically means it's the opposite of what your personality is." And then going to say, "Really? In that case, I'll have to try harder," as he smacked his fist into his hand. The next year, Izuku was now 10. He had mastered airbending, well, to some degree. Not quite there yet, but he was getting better. And waterbending, he was forcing it and didn't really know how to use it all that well. But Aang surely taught him slowly how to use it over the past few months. Aang said, okay, Izuku. Now, you have 10 months. I'm going to teach you within the next 1 year. You'll be 11 then, and I'll have to go. I'll see you again someday, though." Izuku would say, "Wait, really? Wow, you helped me so much over these years." Aang would then say, "I know, but I cannot stick around forever. I would be breaking the rules." So, anyway, Aang would then go and teach him. Finally, Deku had got a grasp of waterbending. He was learning how to use it very well, and he'd already mastered airbending. Izuku was now 11, as I said. He's on mastered airbending, firebending, earthbending, and is partially on his, not even, kind of mastering waterbending, basically. He's on his way to, at least. I feel like there's a wasp in my room. But anyway, like I was saying before. So, one day, Izuku didn't really like to tell anybody about his quirk. He just always avoided Bakako and his sister. But one day while they were at home, Izuku was meditating. And he was sitting down, meditating in his room. As y'all know what he was doing, he was talking to Aang, telling him goodbye. And he said, "Before you go, though, I actually want you to meet somebody." As then they entered the spirit realm. Well, they already were, but they entered the deepest part of the spirit realms, basically. Aang said, "Well, I can't be here with you, but you're going to have to meet him. You're going to like him. Trust me. He's a good friend." As then Aang would disappear. And then Izuku would walk into the forest that Aang pointed out, and on the other side of the forest, there was an old man with a white, long beard and with a big smile, and with a smile on his face. He said, "Ah, so you are the Avatar? From what I'm guessing, there are now two avatars in two separate dimensions. Iroh would say. Iroh would happily greet Deku, them sitting down chatting over a pot of tea. Iroh understood what happened and why there are two avatars now. Iroh would give Izuku some wise advice, and Izuku would be on his way. But it had turned out while he was meditating, his sister did try to do the unthinkable. She's not evil or anything, she just really wanted to hurt Deku because he's been ignoring her lately. So she grabbed the bat and decided to try to break Izuku's legs. But as you all know, the Avatar state will activate if it senses your body is in danger. So during this meditating time, basically during while Izuku was talking to Iroh, he get a feeling, and then all of a sudden his eyes turn white. Then Izuku would get up. Well, Izuku would start levitating with air, earth, water, fire coming all around him. Izuku would then get a snap out of it as he did not attack Miko. Miko could not believe what she just saw, as she went to go tell her parents, but her parents thought she was lying. Not lying, but she must have been seeing things. As they would say, that useless boy couldn't have a quirk if his life depended on it, as they would laugh. Asashi, on the other hand, wouldn't laugh, as he would kind of believe her, because Asashi was really never mean to Deku. It was just his mom was like manipulative and was always a bit harsh on him. So then Hasashi would then go up to Deku, saying he was meditating, wondering if he can get him up out of it. So he tried to shake Izuku, but nothing really worked. And all of a sudden, Izuku opened up his eyes. He said, "Oh, hey Dad, what's up?" Hasashi would then go on to say, "Izuku, we have to talk." Hasashi would tell everything what Miko said and tried to do. Izuku said, "Oh, so that's what that was. So, Dad, can I tell you something?" Hasashi said, "Yeah, sure." Deku would then want to say, "Truth is, I have a quirk, and how do I say this? I'm not like other boys because I have a quirk, and I just didn't want to tell anybody because they thought they would basically like do experiments on me to see why my quirk activated and why others didn't." Hasashi said, Whoa, slow down. Wait, what? Yeah. My bad, guys. I have to do something real fast. Anyway, back to the video. Like I was saying before. So Izuku would tell his dad about him having a quirk, well, quote unquote, the quirk, what he didn't really want him to tell the truth, because he thought he wouldn't believe him. But he told his dad because he could trust his dad, because while they were having dinner, Inko would always treat Deku as if he was a dog and made him sit on the floor and eat. But Sashi on the other hand always helped out Deku. Whatever money he could scrap or pull up, he'd give it to Deku, because he knows the feeling. So Deku loved his dad more than he would care for his mom. So Deku told his dad about him, quote unquote, having a quirk. And he told his dad about how he can control off of the elements, and when my body's in danger, my quirk takes control and it sort of stops from whatever's trying to hurt me from hurting me. Deku dad couldn't believe it, as then Deku would take him out. Basically, him and Deku would go out for a day. His wife not really questioning it, but Deku would then take his dad to the beach, as then Deku would start to earthbend, and then Deku would start to make these boxing punches, like air punches, and then air and fire would come out of it. Basically, Izuku on the other hand, Izuku was moving the water, basically, all around and about. Hasashi could not believe what he was seeing. He picked Deku up saying, "My son has a quirk! My son has a quirk!" Well, not saying it out too loud because he didn't want anybody to hear. Hasashi would be so proud as he'd say, alright, Izuku. Let's say me and you go grab a bite." Him and Hisashi would then go out to eat. As then Deku would say, "Alright, Dad, I'll be right back." I'll be right, Dad, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go to the bath. No, he said, "Alright, Dad, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go to the bathroom." Izuku goes back to the bathroom. He comes back, and they eat. They go home, and then the next day Hisashi goes to work. But then Hisashi boss comes to Izuku's house. He takes his hat off of his head and places it on his chest. As then he tell the Midoriyas that Hisashi yesterday got caught in a villain accident and the result of him losing his life. Deku dropped to the ground. At this point, it got to the point where he couldn't control himself anymore. All of a sudden, all of a sudden, as soon as they said that, they felt the ground start to shake. And then everybody turned back to look at Deku. His eyes was white. Miki said, "See, Mom, I told you. You see, I wasn't hallucinating. He actually does have a quirk." Inko would say, "Wait, what?" As then the house started to crumble because Izuku was in the Avatar state. And as you know, the Avatar state can be induced by anger because, as you guys know, when the Earth General, whatever his name was, killed Katana, Aang did go into the Avatar state, so the Avatar state can be produced by anger. Izuku would then start floating up in the air, the blank expression on his face with his eyes white. Miki tried to, levitate him, but tried to, telekinesis him down, but it didn't really work. Every time she had tried, Izuku would always send a rock towards her way, and basically smashing into her and sending her flying back. Now, on the other hand, Inko could not believe what she was seeing. She was seeing that his quirk is better than their daughter's. So she saw opportunity in Deku now. She didn't care Hisashi died that much. Only thing she saw was the fact is that Izuku was could prove worthful after all. All of a sudden in Izuku's mindscape he'd sit down in the spirit world crying. As then Iroh would show up. Iroh would then sit next to him saying, "Don't worry. I know exactly how you feel." Deku would say, "What do you mean?" Iroh would say, "Well, one day, 100 years ago, 140 years ago, I lost my son to a war. And after that, I was broken. I didn't really know. And I got back up. And I got back up and got back on my feet and decided to keep on fighting on for my son. After this, I stopped wanting wars. I even spared these two dragons that actually helped my grandson, that actually helped my uncle, that actually helped my nephew in his journey in assisting the Avatar. Iroh would say, even if your father's gone, you could still fight on for him. Izuku would then go on to say, yeah, you're right. And then he snapped out of the Avatar state, falling back to the ground. Got to the point where Izuku's house was completely trashed. Izuku would then stay asleep for a couple of days, about 2 days, as when he woke up, he was treated differently, in manners of which that disgusted him. Inko was trying to suck up to him now. It was basically acting like she would to Miki, which kind of made Miki, which kind of made Izuku mad. So then he couldn't take it anymore. He slammed his hand on the table, saying, "Aren't you at the least bit all sad? Sad for my father? Sad that he's dead?" Inko said, "I was, but you gotta learn to get over it, I guess." Izuku said, "It's only been 2 days. You shouldn't even be finished with the stages of grief by now. And yet, you don't. I bet you didn't even feel anything when he's died. Only thing you thought was, huh? Oh well. Looks like I won't be having any more useful kids, 'cause that's probably the only thing you wanted him for." Izuku would then slam his fist on the table and walk out. As in, he said, I'm not going back to that house. Never. Izuku would then walk out. Izuku would take all his clothes with him. Still a bit of his mom's money. Enough to sustain him. Yeah, by the way, guys, Izuku was 13 by this time. So yeah, Izuku would then steal a bit of his mom's money. Enough to sustain him for a little bit. Well, enough to sustain him for a while. Izuku dyed his hair. He dyed black. All black. And then he changed his appearance completely. Izuku's hair was originally a greenish, whitish color. But now it is, in the anime it was a greenish blackish, but in this one it was greenish whitish. He dyed his hair completely black. Got his name changed. Basically. And then he set off on his own. Izuku wanted more than anything to become a hero. He knew he had to be in school to do that. So secretly, he'd attend online schools, as Izuku would stay isolated by himself for the next few years. 2 years have passed. Izuku's now 15, and now he's heading on his way to UA. Over the 10 months of training. Oh gosh, let me rewind that back a little bit. So, about 10 months after the UA, Izuku was walking out in a tunnel, cause he just needed to get around. He was walking around, and he decided since he was taking that place, why not take a shortcut? Since he was going to his favorite food place, he decided to just take a shortcut there. So he went down into the tunnel, as then he'd hear the pipe shaking. He decided that would be bad, as then he, froze it. Oh no, she just froze it. Because there was water leaking out of the pipes, and he used that water to freeze the pipes so that way they wouldn't break open. But his effort didn't work, as the pipes would shatter open. Slytherin would say, "Did you do that, kid? You're making this harder for me, the sludge villain would say, you know what, just give me your body. The sludge villain would try to attack Deku. Deku would then dodge the sludge villain, slamming his foot on the ground, with the pillar popping up, and Deku is now standing on a pillar. Izuku would then going to say, if you want to get me, you're going to have to try harder, you know. The sludge villain would say, shut up and stop resisting. I didn't know he would be in town. As then the sludge villain would try to rush at Izuku. Izuku would then say, as he'd say, as then he'd blow, with fire coming out of his mouth. I meant the sludge villain would be a girl in this one. Fuck. The girl sludge villain couldn't believe what she was seeing. First, this kid created a pillar, and then he was breathing fire out of his mouth. The girl sludge villain said, how is this possible? Are you some type of freak? This shouldn't be possible. You're a boy. Just stop resisting. Izuku would then continue to punch down on the sludge villain, sending out fireballs. Izuku would jump off the pillar and slam his foot on the ground, creating a dome around the sludge villain. The sludge villain tried to get out, but every time she had tried, it didn't work. Because now Izuku had basically created like a perfect cube, basically like a perfect box made out of earth, basically. He tried to get out, but it didn't work. Eventually, she gave up. Then all of a sudden, a female jumps down with a big smile, and All Might said, "Ha ha ha! I am here." As in, she looks around to see the sludge villain, but the only thing she sees is a box made of earth, with the kid around it, with the kid sitting next to it. All Might was then going to ask, "Hey, kid, have you seen a sludge-looking villain?" Izuku would say, "Oh yeah, she's in here." As in, Izuku would create a little peephole for All Might to see. All Might said, "Wait, how did you..." Izuku said, "Oh, that's just my quirk." All Might would laugh, saying, "It's not okay to lie, you know. But Frello, how'd you do this?" Izuku would get frustrated as then he'd spin basically like what the earth she was standing under. He'd spin it around, saying, "See?" Izuku was then going to say, "Told you I have a quirk." All Might would say, "What? That's not possible, kid. You must be some type of a new djinn." Deku said, "Yeah, probably, but it wouldn't matter anyways. The name is Izuku." All Might would say, No, Izuku would say, Izuku would say, "The name is Jolt. Nice to meet you." No, I feel like I should give him a better name. Izuku would say, "The name's Sai. Nice to meet you." All Might would say, "Well, nice to meet you there, Sai. But anyway, why are you standing here? I mean, why..." Well, she once asked that, she'd still be in disbelief that he could actually use a quirk. All Might would say, what are your parents' quirks?" Izuku would then go to say, "My parents died. I don't have any." Because he would not consider Inko as a parent at this point. He'd actually hate her with all his soul and fiber and being. Sashi was to him like his only parent. So, and he's dead now, so Izuku has no parents, he said. All Might would then go on to say, sorry to hear that, but, I guess I'll meet you. Oh, then she'd ask, so, you planning to go to UA? Izuku would say, yeah, I've actually wanted more than anything to become a hero. Izuku, Izuku would then say, well, more than anything, I actually want to help some. More than anything, I actually do help. Basically, want to become a hero, because when I was younger, I'd quote unquote used to go around going to the wealthiest neighborhoods I can find, helping. And no, stealing is wrong, but it just felt watching those slobs use it for nothing all day kind of got me irritated. So I'd usually go around stealing it and giving it to the younger and less unfortunate, going around to the bad neighborhoods. I would say, yes, stealing is wrong, and you shouldn't have done those things, but you have a good heart. Is a good thing I'm gonna say? I do. I know, but anyway, I should probably get going though, because from what I can tell, it's getting dark, and I really need to get there before the store closes. Izuku would then walk off. All Might would grab the sledge villain as she would jump off. Deku gets what he needs, heading back to his dingy little place. Like I said before, Izuku does not. He didn't used to go around the neighborhood. He didn't used to go to rich people's houses stealing their money and giving it to the poor. He still does. In fact, he's have enough money for him to basically, live on his own. He has his own little apartment. He gives it to the kids, and for him to pay his bills. He goes to school online, and yeah. Izuku would say, well, All Might. I met All Might today. That was pretty cool. But now it's time for me to train. Izuku would train on his metal bending, not really getting a hang of it as much as he did his lava bending. Izuku would say, this is hard. Whew. As he keep on trying to metal bending. And over the course of the next few weeks, he, learn how to, control his quirk, basically. Izuku would, not control his quirk, but control lava, basically. Izuku would then go on as then he'd say, well, if I can get this metal bending down within the next few months, probably become the number one student at UA. This is gonna be fun. Next 10 months, Izuku will train. Now back to the UA entrance exam. He would walk into the entrance exam, seeing a face he thought he'd never see again. Seeing a face that he hated the most. Well, other than his mother, that is. He saw his twin sister, Miki. Izuku would walk past Miki, hoping she didn't recognize him. Which he hoped right. She did not recognize him at all. She did get this familiar feeling from him, though, which is why she went up to go talk to him. And she'd say, what is a boy doing at UA? Izuku then going to say, to become a hero, obviously. You got a problem with it? Miki would then laugh, saying, oh, really? Boys don't even have quirks, genius. And even if you did, you still won't be able to get into UA. Izuku would say, "Oh, I'm different from other boys. And if I were you, I'd watch out for that breeze." As then he'd blow air under her and lifting up her skirts, making everybody see. Everybody would laugh as Izuku would walk off. She'd get angry, pissed even, heated, as she tried to chase after him. But then a blue-haired girl stopped her. She'd say, distracting other people, maybe boy or girl, is wrong. So if I was you, if you're here to distract and bring down others, I'd suggest you leave. Miki would drag her, get her shoulder, get her hand off of her shoulder as she'd walk off. The written exam, Izuku passed easily, getting stares from the teachers and the other students because he was the only boy there. Besides the teacher, he was I don't know. The teacher was a boy as well. It's just he didn't really. It's just the fact is that he was there to teach, not to do all that. So Izuku now it's time for the entrance exam. Izuku would stretch his leg as then he is approached by a blue-haired girl, the same girl who stopped Miki from attacking Deku. She would then go on to say, "Listen, you've kind of had me curious. Why are you here? You don't have a quirk, and you probably won't be able to get into UA." Izuku said, "Oh, of course, I wouldn't be able to get into UA, but at least I can try," Izuku would say grinning. President Mike would say, "Go, go, go, there is no fight in a real battle, but there is no countdown in a real battle." Izuku would then rocket off using his fire, making everybody just jaw drop, literally, as they could not believe they were seeing a boy use a quirk. They could not believe it. People were recording. The students even stopped trying to fight robots to record. As Izuku would land down on the ground, Izuku then going to say, "This should be a piece of cake." As then one 1-pointer and 2 3-pointers tried to attack him, but Izuku smashed his foot on the ground, and kicked the rocks that came out, breaking all of the robots. "Huh? 2 quirks," they said. "He must be a half and half." As then another robot, another 2-pointer robot, a 2-pointer robot would try to attack Deku from behind. Izuku would then go on to say, "Touch me if you want, but you won't be touching me." As then try all you want, but you won't touch me. As Izuku would then create a little ball of air under him, driving around him, making fun of the robot, basically. Just being cocky and arrogant. Izuku would then say, "Alright, that's enough." As then he smashed his foot on the ground, and a pillar came up and smashed the robot. Izuku would say, "Easy." The teacher would say, 3 elements: water, air, and earth. Air, fire, and earth. They thought maybe he has water too. But Izuku didn't really use water in this one, although he could have, because a lot of people were sweating, and but he just decided not to, because he really saw no point in it. Izuku will then go on to kill a couple of more 1-pointers, 2-pointers, eventually landing him at the point of 41. No, of 32, leading him up to points of 32. Izuku had said This is fun. As then you hear the ground shake. Boom, boom, boom. Izuku was then gonna say, huh? As then a 0 pointer would pop up. Izuku saying, really? If you guys think that's gonna stop me down, well then you're mistakenly wrong. As Izuku tried to create a pillar, but the 0 pointer smashed down on it. Izuku said, huh, this might be harder than I thought. As then he'd hear a scream. Izuku instantly rushed to the scream he heard, and there he saw Uchaku Uraraka as he lifted the boulder up off of her, saying, "Are you alright?" She say, "Wait, it's you, that boy." Izuku would say, "Yeah. Anyway, forget all about that. We have a 0 pointer about to attack us, and, well, you kind of got to get out of here." She'd say, "Okay," as she tried to stand up, but she said, my legs hurt. My ankles hurt. Izuku would say, "Alright, fine." As then he'd take a bit of water because she was sweating. She would take a bit of water because she was sweating a little bit. As he healed her leg, Izuku would then say, "Go on, go." As she'd go, Izuku would say, "It's just me and you now, buddy." As he slammed his fist on the ground with him flying up in the air. The robot would grab him. The robot quickly grabbed him. Izuku says, "You just caught me off guard." As in he'd say, as in he let off a giant gust of fire towards the robot's head, scorching the robot's head completely. The robot lost visual as then the robot was just blindly doing what robots do. Well, not what robots do, but he was like blindly moving around as the robot basically lost all physical, visual. Like his sensors, his monitors were all broken. Izuku would then smash his foot on the ground, creating a lot of boulders as he'd smash him. But he saw this was doing no effect, so he thought, "Alright, my mental bending should come in handy by now." As then he decided to rocket up there. He got on top of the robot, of course, as in he punched into the robot, creating a dent. Did it again, and did it again, because he was metal bending down on the robot. Eventually, he got inside the robot and started to mess up its cords. He thought he knew it was about to blow, so he decided to jet it out as the robot's head would then blow. Everybody thought Izuku probably died in there as they see something coming out of the smoke. Almost like a rocket. It's Izuku. He got out before any real damage could be caused to him, basically. Izuku would then get back down on the ground as he starts saying, "Piece of cake. That was way easy. Too easy." Izuku would then laugh at his achievement really loudly. Everybody thought he was crazy for a second, but they dismissed this. Izuku would then walk back, would be approached by a lot of heroes and girls, and basically Miki saw what he just did, and he had thought he had did something way familiar, but it couldn't be. No, it couldn't be, could it have? Miki pushes the crowd of girls as then Miki I named her. Miki crashed the crowd of girls, pushing and pushing, as then she'd grab onto Izuku's shoulder. Then Izuku would then look down, saying, "Whoa there. Oh, it's just you." Miki would say, the feeling's mutual, brother. Izuku would say, oh, I see you realized who I actually am. Took you long enough, you idiot. Izuku would then look Miki dead in the eye. As 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 then they would end up yelling at each other. Miki would yell at Deku because he left the house, and she kind of missed him because having somebody to pick on around the house is kind of fun, and it wasn't the same without him again. Inko, on the other hand, really did like try to get Izuku back because she wanted him. She wanted custody of him because, he was the only boy with the quirk. Miki, on the other hand, just wanted Deku around so she could pick on him. And because she kind of cared for him. But not enough to, say it out loud. Izuku would then say, let go of me. You had no right to yell at me about leaving the house when it was that wicked mother of ours that made me. She's an evil, wicked witch who only cares about nothing but herself. Miki would say, don't say that about Mom. She may be different and may act. She may have made your life hell and made mine a paradise, but doesn't mean she ain't love us different. That doesn't mean she didn't love us the same. Izuku would say, will you let go of your false illusions of Mom? Please. When Dad died, she got over it within 2 days. Is that normal to you? Is it? In fact, when she had heard the news he died, I didn't even see her crack a frown or anything. In fact, I think she got over it then and there. Izuku would say, so what you call a mother, I call a monster. Miki would then get mad at Izuku as they death stare each other, then the eye. Izuku would say, and the name's not Izuku no more. It's Sai. As in, he take her hand off of his collar and walk off. Basically, yeah. So Izuku and his mom would say, I knew this was gonna happen. I really hope I didn't see her here. I really hope she went to go pursue some other dream. But no, she had to come here. I just hope I don't get put in the same class as her. Izuku would then go off and basically go back to his apartment. Izuku, the next 2 days, would get a UA letter of Walmart saying he got accepted into UA, although it would be a little confusing for him, because this will be the first boy of all time to be in UA. And with that being said, everybody, this is where the video ends. Remember, you guys, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and check out if you want a part 2 to this, if you want me to redo it, or if you want any other, what ifs. Give me suggestions down below. And remember, as always, like, subscribe, and comment. I just said that, but you basically get the gist. So I will see you next time.